This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to Teach Me Pokemon, the podcast. I'm your host, Corey, and along with my co-host, Jared, we're best friends, been playing Pokemon for a very long time.
You do what? It's like all dark.
Let the camera adjust, Jared. Let it adjust. See, now I'm back. Look how bright I am now. I was racing for something.
Oh,
before the camera adjusted, it looked like you couldn't really see. Again, for people that are listening on the podcast version, you don't know. But on YouTube, at first it looked like I was like blacked out, like I was in a true crime documentary and didn't want to show my face.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, you know.
We've got a secret guest with us here today.
My name is Michael Long.
We have one of the best players in the world here today, but he's not willing to reveal his identity.
Every time I play Henry Chow in a guarding mirror, I beat him.
I mean, yeah, Corey, we missed you last week. It's not as fun doing a show by yourself. It's just not. Some of these people that get up there that just do it by themselves, I don't know. Like, I can do it. It's fine. But we missed you. We're glad that the fam is good. And it's just nice to talk some Pokemon with you.
It is good. You know, in the late nights of taking care of a little baby, a little infant, you know, the thing that passes the time is thinking about decks and matchups and Pokemon now being on the phone, like TCG Live, that's like the best. Like, that's revolutionized having a baby because you can feed and then kind of sit her down, and then I'm on my phone, you know. So, you know, kudos to this guy last night on Lugia. I just kept hitting him. It was like 3:30 in the morning, and him and I just kept playing each other. And I imagine he's probably a dad too, I would think, doing the same thing, or he's just grinding. So one of the two.
Well, I respect you. I respect you. I mean, Pocket seems like the easier play right now, but you're not an ordinary Poke Dad. You're dedicated to the live.
Yeah, no. I got back on Pocket just because our friend group in our group chat likes to give one of our friends a hard time for never pulling good cards. And so I was just hoping I'd get an EX. That was the only reason I got on. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna play with the Pocket game. I'm not gonna play. I respect. You know, Pocket, I get it. I understand why it's there. But, you know, if you're going to play, why be in the minor leagues? Just play in the major leagues. So when we do that.
Well, in another time in episode, I would go on a very long rant and soliloquy about the new trading system that just came out. But that's not what we're doing here on Teach Me Pokemon. Tune in.
That could be your monologue episode, just where you're talking about it.
It'll be like my cold opening on an SNL episode. just come in hot at the trading system on Pokemon Pocket. Oh, but I digress. I want to jump in. We don't have a lot of time today. We got to talk about our sponsor real quick.
I was trying to sneak it in without you noticing.
I couldn't. Not Stray Collections. We got to shout them out, but that does feed into what I'm talking about. What is Stray Collections opening right now? Prismatic Evolutions. What do we have to start talking about because it's playable at the next tournament? Prismatic Evolutions.
Yep.
Corey, my question to you is this. Every time that I can remember when an evolution became playable again, when it wasn't a part of the meta already, but it became to it, not only in the collecting, but in the arena as well, are we going to see some of the top players try an EV-based deck at the first regionals that Prismatic Evolutions is available?
I'm going to say hard no. I just don't think they're good enough. On live, I've hit up against some good Flareon variants mixed in with like Lost Box. That was interesting. The Sylveon's always going to hold a special place in my heart. I think it has the most broken move in the game, but it's going to take someone like Tord, I think, to put that together and make it really work. So, but everything else, Jared, nothing. There's just not anything that in my mind is super powerful that stands out to me. I think the Jolteon is intriguing by its move that can hit up to, I want to say 240 for 2 energy, right? You discard 2 energy.
Yes.
I could be wrong. 240, 250. But that's not 330. That's not 320. And those are the numbers you have to hit if you're going to be competitive, I think, right now, to be able to hit Dragapult Charizard. So I don't know, man. I think there could be some players that might, for fun, put this together. But I want your opinion. I mean, I just don't think there's not a Leaf. There's not an Eevee variant that just jumps off the screen at me that would carry the day. And then you could, I mean, there's not a fighting, if there's never been a fighting Eevee, but it's like that weakness is pretty important right now. There's not fighting. There's the Leaf, which does help you in some of those matchups, but I don't know, man. It's not jumping off the board at me. What do you think?
Yeah, the rogue side of me sees some potential anytime that a basic can evolve into multi-type staging to me. What have we been complaining about for so long with a lot of our EXs and our Terra Pokemon? It's, there's cards that we haven't been able to use. But personally, I wonder if this is the time for Glass Trumpet to shine. Because before, when it was just came out with Terrapagos, it was like, oh, great, this is a great energy manipulation speed up. But you really didn't need a diversity of energy on Terrapagos. You just need a double colorless, or like what we've seen recently in some of the tournaments, just get some water on it. And then after that, there weren't any really Terra colorless Pokemon. But now you have the opportunity with whichever version of the Eevee you really want to. I wonder if there is a speed version of this that, given maybe not this meta, but some future metas, you could come after them. Like the Leafeon, I know that's great into our Charizard. The Jolteon's probably great into the Lugia matchup. Dragon Pokemon don't have any weakness. There's not a whole lot I can help you with there. Umbreon maybe into... Right. I don't think anyone is like, this is the new meta, but I don't know. Maybe it sneaks into some kind of cool lost box. Maybe you're glass trumpeting at the same time that you're speeding up. These are the things I've been playing around with in my head.
I think it's one or the other. I think you go Glass Trumpet or you go Mirage Gate. I don't know. You could do both. It feels like overkill. I guess one's from the deck and one's from the discard pile.
Sure.
But you'd have to, the Mirage Gate lets you put it on Leafeon or whatever you want. The Glass Trumpet has to be on the Eevee EX or EV on the bench. So there, there's pluses and minuses, pros and cons to either. I think the Leafeon move leaves you wanting more. I know the second one shots Charizard, but the first one is like, if Charizard has 2 energies on it, it's doing 240, and that's including the weakness. So it's like not quite enough to one shot, which sucks. And then Dragapult doesn't have a weakness. So as somebody that loves a good weakness counter deck, it's hard to run that right now because Dragapult doesn't care about that.
Right.
And Terrapagos, it's fighting. There isn't a fighting. You can work in a fighting Pokemon maybe that's not an EV type that can maybe help you in that matchup. But there's like the Dusknors and the Palkias and, and so there's just different types you can attack with. So I don't know. I just don't think these are powerful enough. I wonder if they'll come out with like an item card that says like, if attached to an evolution, you can use any attack from any EV, or I don't know, something like that. But it's cool. And from a collector set, I just think the only thing that could be game changer is if you can figure out Sylveon. If you can shuffle back in 2 Pokemon into their deck and figure out how that can work, I think, and I'm not just biased, but it's just like that move is so good. If you can figure that out and then pivot the next turn to something that's attacking again, maybe you have something there. That'd be my take.
That's fair. One question I do have prediction. Maybe you've played around with it a little bit more. But with both the boosted evolution EV, which for those of you that don't know, the new basic one prize EV has a move called boosted evolution. It says, as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, it can evolve during your first turn or the turn you play it. Are you seeing quick plays? Like, to me, this is I want to go second, and I want to do one of Eevee's move energy switches. Like, because to me, the most engaging one to me, Corey, is the Glaceon. Which does 110 and then 30.
Sure.
And then has its second move, which says knock out any Pokemon with 6 damage counters on it.
Oh, okay. So then, how are you putting the other 3 on? Just like doing Frost Bullet again?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, if depending on your matchup, obviously, but if you go first, you get if you go second, if you get that Glaceon up with some type of Glass Trumpet energy switch maneuver, which I think is possible, Squawkabilly, all of these things that can help you accomplish. We see that in a lot of different decks, Regidrago. And then 110 on your first turn plus 30 to a bench, knowing that you're working towards this really good move. I don't know. That one seems engaging to me a little, but maybe that's too much. Maybe that's asking too much. But man, when I could just lay my EX down and have a stage 1 my first turn, I don't know that many decks that can also hit back.
And that is what makes this enticing. But you're hoping for what? Going second, going Crispin? Or
going
Arvin
Crispin, or going Squawkabilly, discard, and then Glass Trumpet back onto something else with an energy switch, which they're still freaking Regidrago does it all the time. What am I worried about?
Not on their first turn, they don't.
Yeah, man, run. Who can just copy it? Just swap out Glaceon with and just go.
Yeah. Oh, let me see. Oh, I forgot. They just added an ability to Glaceon that says Glacie Star. Discard 7 cards from your deck and then choose 2. It doesn't have that.
Hold on. We're forgetting an important supporter card here that could find 2 of the big pieces that you need. We all know there's a water card out there that lets you find a water Pokemon and any item card. So if you're sitting second and you have that, I think that's a little doable.
I think you're overthinking it. I mean, and I have thought about this because, any mechanic that can break the game rules, like we've talked about this on past episodes, it needs to be worth paying attention to. And, so it's like, you can get this out going second. So it's Arvin gets you there automatically, right? For the most part. It's like running Gardevoir. Your goal is to go second and get those Curlias out, and you pretty much need Arvin and then one of other 2 things in your hand, right? Buddy Poffin or Vessel or an energy. So in this case, if you have Arvin and you have Crystal, so you have to run the Crystal in this deck, you can attach it and then you're hitting for 1 energy, but you have to be able to either find the Glaceon or find the energy. One or the other. Arvin can get Ultra Ball or Terra Orb is probably a better pick there.
Ooh, yeah.
And so that's what you do. Or you have Crispin and you just have to start with a Terra Orb and then you can get going that way. I mean, so there's intriguing matchups here, but it just feels like if you don't get that, then you're going to lose. And that's like a tough way to run a deck, in my opinion.
That's fair.
But I like the 30 or the 60 damage. I'd almost prefer, I wish it was 50 and you could just do Dusclops, drop 50 damage counters and just kill something.
Dusclops Halucha? A little Dusclops Halucha play?
It is nice. Actually, I just reread it. So it's any Pokemon with 60.
It's any Pokemon, baby.
Okay. All right. What about a deck? What? All right, I'll play your game, you rogue. I could maybe see this. This has some potential here. I do think the 6 damage is going to take. There's not one thing that can just drop 6 damage counters. So you can't.
The new Cough Egregious.
Oh my god! What is that? What's the copper egregious?
It does 6 damage counters, or I can't remember if it's 60 damage or 6 damage counters on any Pokemon with an ability.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah, you're asking for a lot there. But I will say this Glaceon needs a psychic energy. It runs a psychic energy.
The Glaceon doesn't need a psychic energy.
Oh, I thought it needed a psychic energy. Maybe
I think it's a leaf water dark.
Oh, okay. Was it dark?
Leaf water dark.
Okay, so maybe not the best synergy. Maybe not the best. It's the Sylveon that needs the psychic.
You could, well, I don't know how you'd get damage on yourself, but you could easily Monkey Dory the other 3. So you're sniping for 30, you Monkey Dory 30, now they're 60, and you need the dark energy. So, but you would basically be like, hit me, please. Like, I need damage to move around. And so I don't know if they would do that. Some players might, but I
think there's something there. I like the Monkey Dory. That's tricky.
Monkey Dory kind of gets you there. Okay, after kind of looking at these again, I wonder if, and this would be a fun deck, but again, this would be high level, is you run Umbreon Sylveon, and the Sylveon puts the Pokemon back in the deck. Umbreon you get a prize. You take a prize.
Right.
And so I wonder if there's a way to like move these guys in and out. So you're stalling your opponent out by putting their Pokemon back in the deck. And then the next turn you just take a prize. And then you switch back and then you put them back in the deck. Talk about if you got that cycle going.
Yeah, that's pretty mean.
Your opponent would flip the table. Like they would quit so hard. It would be hilarious. More so than control decks. This would be insanity how quickly they would quit. So,
oh my gosh.
You can't even Thornton because it goes back in your deck. So it's like there's no
that's
real
true.
Comeback mechanic. So I don't know.
Oh,
but I think that'd be very high level.
So funny.
Flareon's the one that you see. They get it off quickly, and then they can attach 2 energy. The thing hits 130. Which is, we've talked about 130. That's a prime number in the game of Pokemon. And so Flareon's the one I think that gets the most use. 280 is still a nice number to hit. It can one-shot Pidgeot. So I think Flareon's the one, and that's just the one that I've seen the most. Search your deck, attach 2 energy or 2 basic energy to one of your Pokemon.
That's fair.
I mean, it's a really good card. And I think if you built your deck around just applying a ton of pressure, going second with Flareon, now you got me on something.
Okay.
So I think that could be really good.
Well, there's a few more cards I want to throw at you. This seems to be the bread and the butter of options. There's not a whole lot else in the Pokemon world. There's some weird surprises in this set, like a Lugia EX, the Snorlax EX. But they're nothing, the Tyranitar EX. But in my opinion, none of them are really anything to talk home about. Would you disagree? I know that hurts you. You love a good Tyranitar.
I know. Why you literally had to pick the 2 Pokemon that I just love close to my heart. I can talk myself into Tyranitar. It probably wouldn't be good enough to actually win, but I think there's a way that you could just get all these energy onto him, and they can't hit 340. But at the end of the day, people can get up to that number if they need to. So I just am always going to be like, oh man, it'd be so good, but it's not. The Snorlax. The only thing I like about the Snorlax is, and traditionally when these basic Pokemon can get these big HP numbers, they can kind of wall. If you get the cape on this thing. Maybe you get the Bouffalance in play. You start to just get to a level where they can't ever one-shot you. So if you had a mechanism to heal the Pokemon, so then you just keep cycling. It's like the old Wailord deck, but I guess people would have done that with Blood Moon since it has 260 as well.
There could even be some like Snorlax Gravity Stone plays here. Could be a little interesting. The only downside is you really want that Snorlax not to be an EX. And in just a couple wrong turns, and this one's over, in my opinion.
Yeah, you would really have to there's not easy ways to heal. I mean, there's no max potions right now that used to be like the staple where you could just heal all the damage off and cycle those things. So yeah, probably not good enough to make any noise, but it's a cool card.
It is a cool card. And Lugia the same. EX not a Terra, which is it kind of is weird to see it. Like I looked at these cards, I was like, these cards look weird. It is a new design, but I'm like, I'm so used to seeing Terra EXs now that just a regular EX is kind of like it's a little disorienting to me.
Yeah, and you think like Lugia could have been a Terra, like that just feels like a Terra type Pokemon.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they didn't. I think this was Japan's telling us we're tired of Lugia. We need to have a break from Lugia. So let's just print it, but let's not have it be real competitive.
Well, there is one other card that we need to talk about, and it's very appropriate. We need to talk about the non-EX Sylveon and what this means in the control community, in the stall community. It has a safeguard ability, and it's similar to what we've seen from a Mimikyu. But Corey, is this card going to get any love? Are we going to see future iterations of deck that need a one prizer out there to just stall and buy time against certain matchups?
No, it's not. I know this blends two things that I enjoy: a good wall. It's Sylveon. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it would need. It would need something. Its attack would have to maybe be a little different. Maybe a good one energy move that did something more threatening. I think just a wall with one Sylveon, I don't think gets you there, especially still when there's canceling cologne and stuff. Like I know not every deck runs them, but there's just too many ways around this thing. Dragapult, it takes, boss order something else out and then drops 60-60 and this thing's dead. You could risk it by having it be the only thing out there, but again, like its move is 3 energies. That's kind of clunky. Like I just don't think it doesn't pressure non-EX Pokemon enough. Like I think you could pivot. It's a card you would just throw away in a Gardevoir matchup. You don't really care about it. I think if they had pivoted and did like had your EX Terra EV evolutions, all kind of what they are, but then you have your like one prize ones that are like, Sylveon has this move. Glaceon, it can't be hit by Pokemon with abilities. Leafeon could have been can't be hit by basic Pokemon. Leafy or Vaporeon could have been can't be hit by evolution Pokemon. Like you could have like interchanged all these things out and maybe made a pathway to like decide what matchup you needed. That would have been kind of fun. But I think just a standalone Sylveon with this isn't gonna see play.
That's fair. Then the last thing I want to take you through is just looking through our trainer cards. Anything of interest that you saw there? I'll throw a couple out after you. Wonder if decks are going to start leverage them. Black Belt's training is new. Looking around, we have let's see who else. Larry's skill was an interesting one that we could chat about. And then I guess, what do you think about our new Ace Specs Max Rod as well as Treasure Tracker?
Yeah, I'll talk about one and you can talk about the other because I know you want to talk about the other. But I think Max Rod has potential. You remember the old when we got started, I think one of the cards that was the most expensive card back in the day was remember the one that you flipped coins and you
Lake
and you could put Pokemon back in your hand. Not Broken Time Space, that was the stadium. It was
I'll find it.
But anyway, it kind of reminded me of that card. But obviously you don't have to flip. But put 5 of any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard into your hand. I think there's real cool combinations you could do with this Max Rod that I will get play. You will see a deck in top 8 that leverages Max Rod.
Time-space distortion.
Time-space distortion. I knew it had an acronym, a time-space distortion, TSD. So, that was And you could add 4 in your deck if you want.
Yeah, that was such an expensive card back in the day.
That was a really expensive card. Yeah, that we were like, no one's gonna get that card. And so I think Max Rod. I don't know. What do you think of Treasure Tracker?
I just don't know. Anytime you're manipulating tool cards, I'm here for it. I love it, but I don't know what it goes with right now. Like, it seems fun, but what are we accomplishing? The things that I can think the most about are, our Rodham V star combos. But am I just wildly missing something here, Corey, about what this is intended to partner with?
Yeah, I mean, Cloth Terapagos is a deck that I just love, and being able to kind of get rid of the Oranguru in some way and run this, but then you wouldn't have Trolley, which without Trolley that deck doesn't work. So you couldn't run that. I mean, I just don't know of a deck where you could be like, well, yeah, this could find my 4 Seal Stone and my Defiance Belt and escape. A skateboard, not a skateboard. I'm blanking right now. But like, but then you wouldn't have the better A spec. So I don't think that would work.
The only thing I like this thing for is leftovers Snorlax.
Oh, because you would keep like cycling them and putting them back on.
Yeah, because there's been ways to find one leftover at time from time, but this could be a really interesting mechanic to say, okay, my Snorlaxes are going to keep getting my leftovers back, and then you just have to decide what single prize Pokemon you want to run your discarding with. So that could be one interesting way. I don't think it solves all of the problems, but that was always the problem with some of your tool discarding decks is leftovers is the obvious choice. It's hard to find them all. Hey, here's 5 in one go. Maybe that could be an interesting play.
Wait, what's leftover do? Isn't this the thing that just heals?
That's what the tool does, but there's a Snorlax that lets you find some back from your discard pile every single time and put them in your hand. And then you run them with the I can't remember, there was an electric Pokemon that you could run it with, or there was a leaf Pokemon that was and these were like super rogue, like you may see them at your league type of decks, but I was on live running them and having some fun with them.
Oh, yeah. Once during your turn, you may put 2 leftover cards from your discard pile into your hand. So once they're in, you just always could keep healing 20.
Well, no. Like you cook. You keep talking. I'll find it out. I got you.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm missing it. What am I missing here? I don't think this is
that's your engine for getting your tools, and then there's a second set of Pokemon that you're attacking with.
Oh, okay. I think the Rodham, I mean, I know you just said it for 2 seconds, but that deck would be nice with a good A spec that can find your items that you're trying to get into play. You have to discard them, and then they can hit for bigger numbers. Could be one. But I don't know. I don't think Treasure Tracker has enough items. You don't need that many items at one time, unless you're about to prove me wrong with this leftover thing you're talking about. But you would never need 5, and truly, unless this is Cloth Terapagos, but you would never get rid of Trolley. So I don't think
I'm with you.
Maybe you just did a straight cloth deck, and you needed the mochi, you needed the capsule. You grab your for a seal. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a way there, but I don't know. I think Treasure Tracker feels like a binder card to me.
It might be, yeah, and that hurts a little bit, but yeah, you're probably not wrong.
I just think that was you said Larry's skill. I think the Larry's skill is cool with the search. Discard your hand, search your deck for a Pokemon, a supporter, and a basic energy card. I know you can't use that supporter that turn, but you just discarded your hand, so now you can use it the next turn for something. I think that's cool, but I think the card, Jared, that is going to see the most play right now in one specific deck is totally going to be the Regigigas. I mean, I think
really
that's already that is a staple right now in Lugia. I think every Lugia is running Regigigas right now. It's not even it's not a question. No. I mean, it can hit, it can one shot. This is your best card against Dragapult right now, and I think this is what's going to have Lugia make a comeback here. Not that it ever really left, but it brings it up into the status of like, oh, this deck can be really good, and it's because it's Regigigas, and it's probably the best card. There's other decks too that you can manipulate. I think you combine this Regigigas with the Reggie deck, and you could swing into you could hit 330 onto a Dragapult now, and really any Terra Pokemon, Charizard too. So this probably brings the Reggies back into some serious contention, because that's, in my opinion, was the struggle with that deck, was you couldn't one-shot Dragapult, you couldn't one-shot Charizard. Now you can. So, and you don't need Regigigas, the other one,
That's a good point. Going back to my research, one way that you could do this with the tools is with the Bang Boom Chain Electrode from Scarlet Violet.
Does Bang Boom Chain?
It does 20 plus 40 for every tool you discard. So if you're getting back those 4 leftovers every single turn, then you're doing 180 with a stage 1. But there was a basic leaf, and it may be rotating soon, but you had to have 2 energies on it, and then maybe it did 50 per. I just can't find it. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Wasn't there a Pokemon that you could attach like 4 tools to it?
Yeah, that was the
or is that not legal or anything?
No, you're 100% right on that. It is I'm having a terrible memory day.
That would be interesting, because you could treasure tracker. Depends on what this is, what Pokemon this is, but it's
an EX. It's
Pokemon with.
Is it an iron? Is it an iron?
Iron. You mean a metal type?
Is it a Reverum EX?
A Reverum?
I cannot remember for the life of me. I know it's a big, chunky Pokemon.
I don't know. I think back in the day there was like a Garbodor EX or something that lets you do it, but
maybe. I think you're right. I think you're right about the Reggie, though. I had not considered that in Lugia, and I have not been playing against that online to see that. Yeah. So I think you're dead on.
I just thought you were leaving it for last. It's the one that's made I think it's your one card out of this set that of the cards that are like not the reprints.
Sure.
There's
a lot of those.
Because there's some other ones in here. It's like clearly your MVP, I think, of this little set. As far as the Pokemon go, probably of any card, is the Regigigas. So
got you. Well, let's look forward real quick and talk about where we're going to start seeing this. There is no action anywhere this weekend. We have hit a weird little midwinter Pokemon world. So again, we talked about this last week, but what we have to look forward in the world right now is back in North America, 2 weekends from now, we have our special event in Puerto Rico. Then we will see more action in March. Biggest thing that everyone's really looking forward to, though, Corey, is European internationals.
Yeah.
And we're, again, similar. We're about 18 days out from that. It's going to be so exciting. I know we're talking through this set and we're not super wowed by it, but leave it to the Europeans to find creative ways to integrate new sets into what's going on.
They are. Yeah. I mean, I think again, it's not to say other regions aren't creative.
No, but I'm always just impressed with some of our European players and where the things that they concoct.
Yes. I think when arguably the best player in the world is in your region and is known for just slapping 60 weird cards together, and he just makes it work with Tord, other people around that region, I think, try to like emulate Sander.
Emulate it.
Yeah. They emulate it. Sander Wojak, he always puts weird control stuff together and again makes it work. And so it is. EU is just a region that's a little bit more rogue than maybe NA or some others, Japan.
Fair.
That'll be exciting. EUIC, I feel like, is probably what would you say, the fourth biggest or most important tournament of the season? If you said Worlds is one, you maybe say NAIC, the Japan Championships, and then EUIC. Would that be your ranking there?
Yeah, because it gets traveled to. Like, I love watching LAIC. It's one of my favorite tournaments to watch, but more people travel to the other ones. So it's kind of like,
Yeah,
if I had to rank it, it would probably 3. It's also hard because of when they hit, right? Like,
Sure.
LAIC is already happened, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's already happened. So it doesn't get the thing that happens in the latter part of the year. So yes, I agree with you. Everyone's looking forward to Worlds. Can't argue that. 5,000 person championships in Japan. Who doesn't love that? And then yes, probably number 4. You're right.
I think it's 4. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that'll be exciting. We'll see. We'll see who brings it. We'll have to do our predictions next week, or no, in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. We'll look forward. We could talk about our Puerto Rico. I don't know how many spots they have available in that, but we'll forecast. We'll look forward.
And Puerto Rico's this weekend coming up.
Next weekend.
It's next weekend. Okay.
Next weekend. We still got some time.
We'll forecast that next week.
Absolutely. Well, Corey, if you've got nothing else left, we can hop directly into our education moment today.
Let's do it. Educate us.
We're about to educate. So last week, I know you weren't here, but did you get a chance to listen to the episode?
Don't hate me. I haven't.
It is okay.
Sorry.
It is okay. We talked about these little guys.
The baby Pokemon.
The baby Pokemon. Little thing or big things come in small packages. And you can probably think back, because we've seen so many iterations of baby Pokemon. I remember the first time we saw them, we were like, this Pokemon has 30 HP. Like, what are we doing? But I'm trying to think of a time when they were in the meta and at least one wasn't used, and I couldn't think about that. I couldn't find one. Like, they're always relevant.
Sure. Yeah, and I guess I should take back the Regigigas. I mean, Badoo is in this set, and so
sure. But we've talked about Badoo.
We have talked about Badoo,
and that's what we talked about all last week. And we talked about right now why cards like the Badoo and the Cleffa are just so strong right now and important to your deck.
Yeah, they are. I mean, yeah, you were saying like they've always been. I'm like, well, what was before Badoo? What was important? And you're right. The Cleffa got a ton of use and still has a lot of use. What's the top left one? The yellow guy with the red and white antenna.
What is
that guy?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm like, what Pokemon is that?
That's what we'll do. We'll do an education moment where I sneak in a non-real Pokemon.
Yeah.
And you have to figure it out. But I don't know. All I know is that every time I see that Bonsly, I know you have some soreness in your past with that Pokemon.
Yeah, Bonsly needs to get out of here. He's not a baby. That's an assassin in a cute little tree outfit. Bonsly needs to go. Bye-bye. I remember what's the little Chansey? The little baby Chansey that evolves to Chansey.
Next to the Togepi right there?
Yeah.
Oh, man, we don't know names.
So you remember there was a mechanism where if your Chansey evolved from the baby, I think Chansey could draw cards or something, or this is a while ago, but like that was like a fun mechanism to be like, well, I guess I'll just throw these in there because then I get kind of an extra perk if they evolve from it.
I do not remember that off the top of my head, but sorry, we digress. We're sitting here talking about baby Pokemon. This is not this is not what our education moment is about. I just threw that up there because we had it ready. I had it ready last week. But what we want to talk about this week is the inverse. Okay. And we actually talked about it a lot on this episode. And that is when a new set comes out, don't be baited by the big Pokemon. It is so tempting when a new set comes out to run the new, exciting, The evolutions are a great example. And again, you've heard this episode. We hope them work. Just because it's there and it's cool and it's exciting and it's got a lot of HP. I know juniors get into this a lot. The juniors, they love big HP Pokemon. They love Pokemon that can do a lot of damage. It doesn't mean that it must work. I'd much rather you find a good little guy that brings some support and some benefits to your deck and not try to make the big Pokemon work. So Corey, can you a new set came out and you were like, this is the card, I'm going to make it work, and it just didn't.
That was like a big HP Pokemon?
Like just like a big, like the big, like the poster child for that set.
Oh. I mean, off the top of my head, I mean, I think Archelodon was that in the previous set, and I think I really wanted it to work, but it's not time yet. It's starting to see better results, but I think that and the Cerulege were like the two hyped up cards that just didn't quite hit yet.
Right.
And so I think just off the top of my head, those, I think back in the day of like the tag team Pokemon, like I think the Zekrom Pikachu tag team Pikarom, that was like, it ended up being a really good deck too. And like the Reshazard, the Charizard Reshiram card, those were like, oh, these are cool. They're big HP. You know, if you don't remember what tag team were, if you knocked them out, you got 3 prizes. Like that's like how nasty these Pokemon were. So those were always a ton of fun, but you had to really massage your way around like how you're going to build those decks, because it's like if your opponent's knocking out one, I mean you're in easily knocking out one, you're kind of up a creek. So you know, I remember like in inverse, like you're talking about that, it was NAIC a long time ago when I was running that Wheezing deck, and my last match, I was in day 2, I wasn't in contention to make top cut, but the last match I was against this European guy running Reshizard, and I just chipped him away. I mean, it was like totally, you have this big deck that hit big numbers, and then I have like this 80 HP Wheezing that was just like one damage, like, and it just was like, I remember he was very frustrated. I think he probably had a long day too, but it was just the invert. It doesn't matter. It's like you can have this cool big Pokemon, but you can easily be countered by this little deck that puts damage counters, 1 damage, 2 damage, but they just stack up, you know, over time. Yes.
That's good. The story that I think about, and you'll remember this because we talk about this story from time to time. So the set was this was Diamond and Pearl Great Encounters. So this was fairly new to when I think this was like the first pre-release that you and I went to.
Yep.
And we had gotten our packs at the end of the tournament. And in one of them was the Darkrai level X. Oh. And it was just like so exciting because this was the first set that Cresselia and Darkrai had cards in.
Yeah.
And man, we were just so hyped when we pulled that card, and
it was crazy.
And all I could think about for the longest next little bit was like, I'm running a Darkrai deck.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting some more. And if you go back and look at that set, there's 4 level X's that came out in that set. All of them are better than Darkrai. But I was, because this was the Cresselia level X. This was the one that was moving a damage counter. We hadn't really seen a whole lot of that. This was the time skip Dialga, where you could flip 2 coins, and if both of them were heads, then you get another turn.
Oh yeah, that's broken. What was the other one? Palkia?
The other one was the restructure Palkia.
Oh yeah, that was where you pick a Pokemon, they pick a Pokemon.
Yeah, and you pull them out, and then it would.
Yeah, like, that was so good. Yeah, that was.
But Darkrai was the sexy card. Yeah. Like Darkrai is what everybody wanted, but maybe it was from more of a collection. So I think that's the word of wisdom right now as we look at Prismatic Evolutions. Collect this set, sell this set, rate this set, get rich off this set. Do not play this set. It is Admiral Akbar right now is sitting back and he is looking at what is happening here, and he's saying, "It's a trap." So don't be tempted by these big new posts. Go back to these guys.
Jared.
This is safety right now.
Jared,
This is
you know,
safety.
the babies.
The babies are the safe right now.
It's the babies. You know, Jared, when when you take your family out to a restaurant, and it's one that's not just like a grab and go, like it's a sit down. And they do a thing called appetizers, right? That's typically before the main course. It's your, chips and queso if you're down here in Texas. If it's maybe spinach dip, it's if you have kids, maybe it's onion rings, mozzarella sticks. This is what they like to call the appetizer, Jared, because the next set, Zorark, some of these cards that is going to be a game-changing set. This is just setting the table. Here's your little nom appetizer. Here's your bread. If you go to Olive Garden, here's your side of Alfredo dip for your breadsticks. But the Alfredo pasta is coming, and it's going to come in a big way. So just be ready for that. But it's good. Yeah, don't play it. Collect it. I think that's a good.
It's good. Don't be tempted by the big Pokemon right now, everybody. That's your education moment.
Hey,
and yes.
Well, I have something besides the education moment. We're wrapped up.
Please.
I got a little shout out. If you are listening to this podcast, watching us on YouTube, and you live near the Waco, Texas area, you should come to the Waco escape rooms because we have a Poke Chest, and you can for $1, 4 quarters, spin the wheel, take a chance. You get cards. I think 2 cards. It's 2 in there, right, Jared? Or a chance to get a PSA graded card.
Yeah, and
just come on in, $1.
I mean, I've got some right here of these. This is pretty sick. This is the tag team Zapdos Articuno Moltres. I mean, this people win these in our Poke Chest machines.
They win them in the Poke Chest. Is that a PSA 9?
That's a PSA 9 right there.
Oh, okay. And you're up in Murfreesboro. If you're in Murfreesboro, Jared, where can they go spin a machine?
All over Nashville. If you are at a bowling alley in Nashville, I am there.
You're in every bowling alley?
Me.
Everyone in Nashville?
Most every single bowling alley in Nashville, I am in. So come find me. But here's another one. This is a 10, man. This is a great looking card. Look at this Zapdos EX. That's a gem mint. You can win this card for $1. In a Poke Chest machine.
Yeah. We have a Charizard in ours here in Waco, and you got to come quick because we have a very I'll call it aggressive staff that like to go put their money into this machine. So we might already be out of cards. I was going to ask you how I get more, but I'll do that later. But yeah, come on down, Poke Chess, spin it, baby,
spin it. I like it. Well, that's great. I'm glad you got one up and running. That's super exciting. We're going to wrap this up with one more shout out to Stray Collections. Be sure to check them out. Watch some packs get open. Buy you some cards that you need for your upcoming decks and tournaments. Stay active in your locals right now as we're waiting for bigger tournaments to come around. And keep tuning into us. Hit that subscribe button. Put us on your YouTube rotation, your podcast rotation. You listen to any of your podcasts. And as always, just thank you for inviting us into your home, mobile device, whatever you're listening on.
I'm sorry. Can I say one more thing?
Please.
I missed last week. So, I was all excited because McDonald's has these Pokemon cards in their Happy Meals. But you're telling me that they're not all legal. And so there's this Umbreon. I have it right here. This is what I ran to get before the episode started. And its attack is 1 dark energy, and it says, attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Oh, that has damage counters on it. Never mind. That won't work for Glaceon.
Rip.
We'll catch you later.
You can find us at roguemedianetwork.com. Teach Me Pokemon Podcast. Come and dive with us.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.